Okay, how are we guys? I don't know what's going on with this. Oh, there we go. We're getting some movimento. No, I didn't want AMD. NVIDIA! Keep going, baby. This is nice. I will actually be green this morning. First time in a long it feels like a long time. Let's go over this week more from the psychological standpoint because I think that's more important. There's some of the thoughts, reasons I made decisions, and what has essentially probably cost me about 40 grand this week, Australian. So like 30,000 US. It's still a pretty fucking bad week. With still 10 of that US being from a very bad setup from a day last week. So it'll probably be closer to about assuming today goes somewhat well, 30, maybe 20,000 US now, which sucks enormously. Really painful. So one of the first things I did this week is I joined a community on Discord of a guy that I've been following off and basically learning this break and test strategy and just tying in a couple of things for me that make me feel more confident in the approach. I joined that and I was like, you know what, fuck, I'm going to trust this. I'm going to trust my approach. I'm going to trust using that sort of guidance and I'm going to scale up. I'm going to go really hard this week. And it was like 10 grand per trade. And that was probably, I think that was a really bad decision looking at the overall environment this week and then not observing that there had been a break of trend in the SPY, the Qs, and a bunch of the major sevens. Plus, you've got this massive cliffhanger of NVIDIA earnings this week that everyone was just going to hang off. It was going to change how the market was going to behave the first part of this week. And simply because of that unknown, I should not have scaled up. I could have kept the trades the same, but my approach should have been conservative. And that should have been my thought process. Okay, cool. This is going to be a fucking weird week. It is not going to behave like it has previously. Chill until NVIDIA comes out, which means Thursday and Friday would be the days to be a bit more aggressive. Once it starts moving again in your direction, you can see that. Had I done that and just not done anything the first half of this week, I would have done really well yesterday. But I was so beaten down emotionally because of these losses. And then any patience or conviction I had in my methods was basically gone. So I set my rules, trade. There was no wiggle room. It was boom, see ya. And I should have made a fair bit of money yesterday, like 10, 15 grand. And instead it was a loss of, 5 or 6. And then I just, after a couple of hours on it, I was just like, fuck it, I'm out. I went and laid down, feeling absolutely rat shit. And I'd been dumb as well. Like I've been going out this week. There was some new guys that I'd met that seemed really cool. So I wanted to catch up with them and build a bit of a relationship, which honestly to me is more valuable than what I've lost this week for sure. Having those connections I think is really, really good. But again, doing that, I've woken up and I've not been as alert. I've not been as switched on. So that's made the decision-making process harder. But I think the worst thing, funnily enough, was joining that community and putting more value on what was being presented in there than my own analysis and thought process. That can be a guide, but I went to a point where it was more important than what I thought, my reasoning. And so I go back and think about some of these things I did, and I don't even understand why I did them, which I didn't feel at the time that I was out of control, but clearly I was. emotionally not in control. Very bad, very, very bad place to come from when making any decisions, let alone, I didn't fucking realize. I really didn't realize that that's what I was doing. I was, scaling up into a week where I basically lost control, and I didn't realize it because I made these decisions and I was so confident. And just a lot of mistakes, poor analysis, missing very clear and present opportunities. And the other thing that I've been doing, I said this last week, and I should have listened because I was correct. I was just taking too many trades on at once, which is one of the reasons I was winning, because I was picking things quite well. And so when I'd win, I'd have 6 or 7 trades that were basically backing the same sort of thesis, and they all win. And that was really good. But I hadn't had a point where either the market was behaving in a way where it wasn't going to work for me, or I was just wrong. And so when I was just wrong, I was wrong in all these trades. And it sucked. It sucked a lot. Like an enormous amount. So I've changed. I've got this new rule, and I'm not going to like it. I'm going to get pissed off doing it, but it's going to prove to me that I've actually got some discipline in myself if I can do this. So I need to make 100 trades, 1 trade at a time. I will not put on 2 trades at a time. If I am still in a trade, I will not start another one. That is just what it is. If I want to start another one, then I need to exit this trade, and I would only exit a trade if I believe that there is. This is taking on Sir John Templeton. This is one of his rules when he was investing, longer term investing. He would not get out of an investment and into another one unless he saw that there was a better than 50% upside in the new investment over the current one. And so that's what I do with my trades. I will look at them and be like, okay, cool, what's my potential upside here? What's my downside? In the current trade I'm in now, what's my sort of upward target? What's my down target? And I'll be like, we're probably looking sort of 50-50. Let's jump out of this, get into another one that's probably got a better risk reward. And that would be how I'd sort of manage it. I think that's a really logical way to move. It's also going to protect my downside, because if I do this stupid shit again, it's so fucking annoying. It's really annoying because had I have scaled up last week or the week before, I've done so well. Had I have kept my size position yesterday afternoon when I came back to the computer and was calm, I'd have made almost 20 grand, I think, this morning, where Nvidia is. Maybe more. Because that was, I took $1,000. Let's go have a look at this. I'll show you what I did. So I did really well on the Qs. I'll go through that trade first because that was so measured, so well thought through, super fucking calm. You'll see my levels, you'll see my reasoning. It was brilliant. Very happy. So I was trading on the 1 minute chart, which I'll go to in a sec, but you see this level over here, you've got about 39 from here. That's about your high. So that was my target. 39 was my target. I was like, right, if it gets to 39, I'm out. Because that was trade completed. My hold level here was 38. So it needed to be over 38 and moving upwards. So let's jump down to the 1 minute chart, and you'll be able to get an indication of how I did this trade. I entered, it pulled back there, I entered in here. Now I saw this level here down and I was like, that's interesting. That could be a bit of a bottom. And then I saw this come in and bounce and I was like, ooh, that's interesting. If that pulls back again, I'm getting in. And I got in a little bit over that 30, I think it was 38.10. But you could see for me, I had let me get the rectangle so you can see. This bottom here is what I was looking at. And I was like, right, if this can hold that area and start moving up and confirm over, then I'm probably going to play it. It was just such a beautiful trade. I'll show you how I managed it as well. And it did exactly what I wanted. I had actually drawn in, which is something that I might implement as well. I was looking at this and I was like, okay, cool. What I would want is a test back to here, bounce, boom, boom. And this would be my entry. I literally drew this on the screen. Pretty crazy. And it didn't get as low as I want, but it got into this area, it bounced, it came back, and it started going up. I didn't get out here, by the way. Now I'll show you how I managed the trade. So I was managing the stop with the VWAP. Once I got in, I was like, okay, cool, this is looking good. I then took an anchored VWAP. I put it at the key bottom point from my entry, which was this second wick down. And my rule was, if I get a close under that VWAP, a close of the candle under the VWAP, I am out. If not, I readjust at every key point, key bottom, new bottom that forms, and that becomes my new measurement. So from this start, I get in, and as you can see, the close is higher. Now, while this candle was forming, there was wicks, and I was a little bit nervous. I was like, fuck, I don't want to get out of here. Boom, wicked up. Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Then it comes around here, but I haven't got a new bottom that's formed in here. So I'm still holding that as my base. I'm like, am I getting a close? And I was like, that's fucking, like, that's too close to just dismiss it. Here you get a wick through and a bounce up, closes higher, closes about on it. But as you can see, this VWAP is not violated that entire time. And while I'm doing this, I can see this is a new bottom forming. This is my new VWAP. That comes in. I get rid of this one. And as you can see from here, I probably after about this candle is where I started taking this VWAP. You can start to see it's glancing up. So I'm like, all right, cool. Make sure it respects it. It's respected every time since that first candle. Respected, 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 blah, 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 respected all the way up to my target, which I took. I sold out here. It was a 20% win on that trade. I am so happy with that trade because the management was so fucking clear. It was so clear. The boundary was clear. It was like, okay, cool. If I get a close under here, I'm out. I would have been out, $100, something like that. It would not have been much. But it was so beautifully managed. It was so well run. Very, very clear rules to get in, to get out. Funnily enough, you look at this new low, that's where this one formed for another bounce out. So I could have taken it again. And it was following the same rules. If I put the VWAP on there, it didn't violate that VWAP the whole time. And I would have got out there because it hit my target again. So there was an opportunity to take that twice. I didn't think the setup was as good because this low is under that one. So it's not as appealing to me on that same time frame. It's not as good a setup as this one. I like this one. Yeah, brilliant trade. Really good. And that made me think, okay, cool. I'm not actually fucking retarded and maybe I can get a decent trade. I did that. I felt a little bit happy with myself. And then I went and bought some food because I hadn't eaten. And I came back. I had a few targets written down for levels on, where the fuck are we? Oh, over here. A few targets written down on levels, and this 780 was a clear mark for me. So let's have a look at how that, I think I had the 5-minute time frame on when I was looking at this. You could see reject, 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 busting through, boom, bounces over, and then you got these wicks down. I was like, I got it on this one. So you've got this break, retest. I got in there. I got in about 82 or 3, I think it was. but I was pretty close, and I was pretty happy. I was like, "Fuck, I reckon we're in blue sky territories. I'm going with it." I did, particularly because it's Nvidia, and the bullishness on this stock is retarded. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. It had what 28 billion, or it beat its expected earnings by $2 billion, and the stock has added like, I don't know, fucking 300 billion to its market cap. It is retarded. It makes no sense. No sense. And this is probably another thing that was annoying me, because I just thought maybe some fucking sanity would come back into the market and we'd get some, realistic approach to it. Just hasn't happened. So I said, fuck it. I'm going long again. Let's go. I'll swing it. I'm confident. I think that's a good level. You got consistent highs from yesterday. We had a base over. Best case scenario today will be basically to get out of the trade that I'm in now, because the profit on it is quite good. I had 800 calls from yesterday, and I bought them down here. They're going to be worth. I should be up a few 100% on those. I would think that $1,000 in should be worth about 4 or 5 now. Which again, if it was 10 grand, I have a positive week. So this is where I basically could have made everything back had I kept my levels, kept my entry price target. But it was, the only reason was because I came back and I was clear. And I think I probably would have gotten out of the trade yesterday had I had that higher level, because I would have been like, oh fuck, I'm up. It's 785 already. I'm up 3-4 grand. Let's take it, because I don't want to risk it overnight. When in fact, this basis was set up for a decent run overnight. Everything was moving bullish. I just don't know I would have been calm with that higher size, which, as much as I thought I was ready for scaling up, I'm probably not. So this is the trade I'm managing. I've got other ones that I'm looking at. I've written them down. I've got ones that I want to go long on and ones that I want to go short on at certain targets. Nvidia's another one I would go long on if it came back there, but that is your key level. It probably won't, like a better overnight level, given the bullishness. If you're sort of looking at putting some levels in and possibly playing this, is there. That you can just see those touches, those kisses of that level. So that 94, I think, is probably your bounce point today. But I'd be happier if it came back to that 780 again. You get this break. It's opening on a gap. Close the gap, hit the 80 and go again. That would have me really, really confident for a long. And I'd probably just play it similarly to what I've done. This was one I missed yesterday. This was literally, I wrote this dream with a bounce here at all-time high. Well, it came in and I didn't fucking touch it. Stupid. That was the best trade setup. That was the best trade setup yesterday. Really, really good opportunity. One that I had penciled in and I didn't take. Very, very bad form from me on missing that opportunity. And this is another one of the things with joining that Discord, is I put more weight on what was going on in there than my analysis. And as ridiculous as everything with Nvidia is and has been, it is bullish, it is moving strong, and I didn't want to short against it. And I haven't since I lost an enormous amount. Well, what was an enormous amount before I lost this enormous amount. So I was a lot more, I was like, I'm only longing this stock. And I was like, okay, cool, I've got a dream bounce here. If it comes back, let's go. Didn't take it. It would actually be the exact same thing. If we get into opens and it pulls down to there and bounces, it would be the exact same thing. Problem is, I'm already in the trade. So I wouldn't take that if I don't get to exit up high, which is my goal. I want to exit up high on that this morning. Hopefully it holds over that 800. And then we get a nice pullback and an opportunity for a setup again. What am I looking at? Qs are looking in a good position for a 38 hold. So 438. A bounce back to there, the 38 level would be really, really nice this morning, and then go. My stop loss would be under there, so 37.68. Like a dream would be that 37 level, because you can see it's touched a couple of times overnight. So that would be better, 37.20. And then my stop loss would be a close on the 15-minute under that mark, with upside target of probably that 39 again. That would be what I'd be watching, and I'd be managing it with that VWAP as we're moving up, as well as just levels, making sure that it's sticking in this routine, its motion, moving out. Amazon has some interesting levels. Where have I got? I've got Amazon on a short, so if the market goes down, I see this as really key resistance for Amazon, and I would short it at 75 if the general market's going down, with 72 being the target. I'm less inclined to short just at the moment. I'm putting that out there. So these are not ones I would take unless they are perfect on my levels. Google, for me, would have been a great short yesterday because I had this level written in again. It would have been 45 short, 43 target. I would have done better than that. Got to the, not enormously, but 43 was the target. And it would have been great. Good couple of dollars, really quick trade. That was another one that I wrote down and I didn't pay attention to because it's not what they were talking about in the group. So I took my opinion off. My opinion is first, comes first. That's how you learn as well. Because if you're putting your trades and emphasis on what someone else is saying, if you're listening to this and thinking what I'm saying is gospel, you're a fucking idiot and you should not be trading. Take my ideas, take my opinions and thoughts, and then compare them ideally with others, but most importantly with your own. Why does this make sense to you? What has to happen for this to play out and you to believe in this? What are your levels and why? That is far more important than anything that I say or anything that anyone else says. And that's probably my biggest lesson this week, is how I let that slip. Very, very poor on my part. I haven't done that in a very long time. So that was a mistake. Netflix, I've got two options on this. Well, more than that, really. But two major ones. I want this type of action. For the upside, two options. Market tanks. It comes back here. I get a bit of a hold and bounce up. That would be one upside. So that's 70, 79, 78 level. Stop loss is a close at or under 78. That would be a really nice long. That will only happen if the general market is weak to open, which I don't expect. A better option would be a break over that 590, hold, and getting it on that retest there. That would be the better long. If the market is sort of chopping a bit and a little weak, this would be better. Hit, reject, down, that being my target. That would be a really, really nice short trade. You could do very well off that. Now, for these, I would not be taking today's options. I'd be hitting next week options. So you're not going to get the same level of volatility and price change, but you're a little bit safer if it goes against you. And if you don't have much in your account, your broker probably won't even let you take today's options. So they're the ones I'm looking for in Netflix. Netflix is probably top watch for me at the moment. With the levels, Meta is, I've got that as a potential long, only if it pulls back to this level. So this is where it would need to pull back. That would be a dream entry as well. SPY 503, I don't know that we'll see this. This level pullback, I think you're probably more likely, this looks like your base now. From the after hours in there, that looks like your base. So that 507, probably a good option for a pullback and a long off that. I think that would be your first level. If it breaks that, this is probably your next level, 506. And then you're looking to your 503. I would not be shorting this at all. That's only on the long side. They're the ones that I'm sort of looking at. Another downside one for me would be Tesla at, if it comes back up here. And you see I've got that reminder in there around that 98. A little bit of a pierce of that would be nice, 98.20. And I would short that down. My first target would be sort of 96, where it is now, 96, 95. And I would hope that you get a bust of that and it comes back down to that 91. If you get a really nice drop like that, again, that could be a really, really, really nice trade. Microsoft to the upside is actually looking pretty good. So this little range over 412, boom, you've got a nice level in there that has held for a while. It's sort of got this, maybe it's a little bit longer than 412. That's probably more your level, right? Just that range. A little bit longer. But yeah, still pretty much bang on 412, 420 is sort of your range. So something to come back in there and go higher. 414 would be your first real test, I think. So you got a probably decent little $2 move there. And if it gets through that, then you're starting to push back up to all-time highs. But this trade, if it hit there and comes up, that's trade complete for me. I would be out of that trade there, and I would look for a break of this, a retest, and then a go. That would be how I would enter that. So they're different trades. You're setting up two trades. You're not holding this. Again, these are not long-term, they're short. Apple, I'd really like it to hit there, and I'd go short again. Because these are some long-term trend lines that I've got. And I think that would be quite nice. You've got a little bit in charts. They're not massive. That 86 is probably a better level to go down off. But these other trend lines just don't quite match with that. So, yeah, look, they're my thoughts. They're my lessons. I think the major thing is you just have to put your opinions, your thought process first. What other people are saying is important. That has to come second. It needs to be a challenge to your opinion. Your opinion needs to be first. What other people say, you're like, okay, cool. Does this make sense on what I'm saying? If it does, cool. If it doesn't, why? And reason why. Be clear on your reasons. And if your reasons make more sense than their opinion and their reasons, stick with yours. What you now have is more conviction in your. That is a gift. So looking at other people's information, like what I'm putting out here, completely fine. But it cannot surpass what your ideas and your thoughts are. And that's probably my biggest mistake this week. So yeah, I'm cutting my size down, $1,000 max per trade. My risk tolerance, I'm probably looking at $100 or $200 max. And potential upside, we're sort of looking, ideally we'd be looking to double each trade. So I'm looking sort of 5-to-1 risk reward is my goal, sort of 10-to-1 for the entries that I'm looking at. And that'll hopefully build me some fucking confidence. But yeah, I need to get 100 trades with a 70% win rate, positive on the dollars, really controlling those losses before I'm going to scale up again. And I will 10x straight away. I'll 10x straight up. By that time, 100 trades, I should have recovered my account. I should be at the 200 grand level. Aussie dollars, so 120, probably about where I was at my peak on the account so far. So that would have me, okay, cool, let's scale up, one trade at a time, stick to the system, stick to the rules, and let's go. So probably by the end of March, I would be looking to hopefully be in a position where I've had those 100 trades, I've stuck to them, I've been clear, and I've got the stats. If I don't have the 70%, if I haven't hit that criteria, if I'm not positive on the cash flow, if I haven't really built up the bank, then I just, too bad, do another 100, like 101K. You just keep going until you fucking get it right. Like, it is what it is. So just being a little bit stricter and harder on myself, I lost my head this week for sure. So one trade at a time, calm it down, build the discipline, build the foundation. Let's go again. Right, enjoy your day, have a green one. Chat to you soon.